Well, you're half right in that sentence. No warp and no exit, and then put your period, because there is no class change in this round.
Oh, that's a good point. It's a useful thief. It's not a useful ninja.
Exactly. And that is an important thing to remember. I did remind our racers before we started, so hopefully everybody got the memo. Because that would really stink otherwise. We haven't had that issue yet. Lit 3 and Fast and Quad X, but Quad X is level 8 vanilla, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the higher tiers, so you definitely need the class change, so no Quad X today.
That also makes a red mage much less valuable. Really, the only thing you'd pick up versus a black mage would be... Would you even learn life? Life 1? You would.
So I think it's the healing magic that would really help out if you can get a heal 2 or a cure 2 early. Yeah. Also, the ability to equip stronger armor than the black mages and the thief is certainly helpful.
Yeah, but I'm not surprised to see anybody who would bring black mages instead of red mages, and Len is obviously gone with the 3 black mages, so is Minochi.
God of War PS4
they also have the advantage of being a little bit better runners, and spiders have the disadvantage of having lit too, so they're just going to be unfun for these early levels.
Okay, so that's going to be fun when they get in the Marsh Cave.
If they have to go. Ice Sword is going to be good for the people who brought a fighter.
Also good for the people who brought a red mage.
As for the thief, he's not able to equip a weapon that high without class change.
Salty, meanwhile, booking it straight to the pirates, and we'll see what they have to do.
Oh, the spiders have poison too. Lit 2 wasn't enough.
Oh, well, alright.
That was the damage poison.
I think either one at early levels, it doesn't matter. It's gonna wipe you out.
Yeah. So they were able to get Lit 3, and because that's within the permissions of a black mage, they're able to learn it at level 1. They're going to have a lot of casts of that available, especially these people who brought 3. So even where Zalnop has the red mage instead of the black mage, he's still going to have Lit. Well, actually, I don't know that he has that. Never mind. Did he? Did he or did he not? I won't pretend to know that off the top of my head. Or the bottom of it either. If I were running, I would try it.
We have wooden armor, not too bad for the thief, and we have silvers and coppers.
Yeah, and you can see with those price ranges, some of these things end up being more expensive than we often see them end up as. The heals, the pures, kind of thing. But the softs were about half price from vanilla, so not bad there. There's our crown for Zalnop. We're not tracking the key items because they're not necessarily required.
So it looks like this is going to be pretty likely that you're not going to have to go into Marsh Cave. Crown opening up in the neighborhood of 20 chests outside of Marsh, so definitely changes the math quite a bit.
Yeah, it does mean you'd have to get by Astos, though, and he's not a slacker, but also that Ice Sword plus a whole bunch of Lit 3 charges to try and get by him.
Yeah, it's not like you're smacking him around with silver hammers or anything.
I'm kind of curious with this setup, if anybody will go to Peninsula of Power just to say, grind to level 8 or 9 and be done. Like, I could see them running that way for the rest of the game.
I think with the casts of Lit 3 available, that if you can get off 2 or 3 casts of Lit 3 against a group of Peds or Troll Bulls outside of Crescent Lake, you can get to that 8 or 9 along the way and not have to make the specific trip. So while I do agree with you that the Peninsula Power would be more efficient, you do lose some time gearing up for that.
That is true, and I think personally I wouldn't make that play. I still won't be surprised if somebody does make that play, however. Or they might even go to a higher level for more durability, survivability, and more spell charges, because if you've got 4 charges for 3 or 4 casters, that is a lot of spell charges. Even adding 1 spell charge to 3 people is 3 more casts, and that's at least 1 more unrunnable.
Yeah, and I think you'll see people go for that play if Marsh Cave is on the table.
Well, at the moment, we know we're probably not going to go in there. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if Artea was in this race if he did it, but I think you'd take the crown bait before you dive into Marsh. Will Minochi sell the white shirt? I don't think you're selling a casting item under these flags.
Yeah, I tried it. It didn't work out. I was immediately punished for doing so.
Okay, so apparently I got inside Monochi's head, and that's scary.
Well, good call. The Giants rolled absurdly low HP.
And Salty is instead gonna take the crown bait and go talk to Astos. With lit 3s, he should be able to get past this fight.
Oh, did Salty forget to... Uh-oh, did he forget to equip the Ice Sword?
Or did he do the temple? Because he could have done early bridge.
Oh, that is true.
Especially with the lit 3, it would have been reasonable to go straight for the pirates. It looks like Astos didn't come up with anything nasty, so he's able to get that in level 5. Yeah, there's no way he did Astos and he's only did Garland and he's only level 5. Alright, looks like there's a bunch of quick encounters in this table that Salty is burning off before he takes. I think that's the walk between 3 and 4. And that is a hero run.
I'm curious to see what that looks like on the ship. If those 3 encounters early on are high threshold numbers, then you would get an even larger hero sale, so to speak.
Stretching the bounds of my memory of vanilla Final Fantasy, as I'm recalling now, a red mage can learn Fire 3, but not Ice or Lit 3. So unlearnable there, as Zaunop tried. But if he's able to find Fire 3, he'll be able to learn that. Presuming that the spell also falls within the range that your mages can learn, because it's a double penalty when you have no class change. And what I mean by that is, if the slot only opens up with class change and you can't class change, then you're not learning it even if the permissions will allow.
Salty definitely putting that encounter table to work.
And Salty is following through on this crown chain before anybody else is able to, so if this leads to something, including the TNT, that's going to be a significant advantage.
It's going to work out pretty efficiently for Salty as well. He's not going to take an encounter all the way through just because of the manipulations on the overworld, and he's also going to be able to check Temple of Fiends, both the locked and unlocked doors at the same time.
And if you do have to go to Marsh Cave, it helps that you're at least able to do the whole thing. the other interesting thing about your party selection is the running ability. Obviously, the Thief is the master of it, but Black Mage being the second, if you've got at least 2 of them, you're probably in pretty good shape for running away from things. There is our TNT. Here in the Elven Treasury, Marsh Cave will not be required, but will anybody make the play anyways, because there's treasure chests down there.
I feel like if you've seen the spiders, you don't make the play.
Not a bad threshold. So we haven't seen any of our casting items yet on either side, but only a small number of chests so far. The 2 out of Temple of Fiends, the 3 in Matoya's. We've also seen the 2 in Dwarf, and Salty is now giving us a look at the key-locked treasures.
Question in chat, what did the spiders have? They had...
Lit 2 and Damage Poison.
Yeah. Pretty nasty combo.
I think they had Stun too, or something like that.
Yeah, the Fuchsia making a good point in chat. Probably better to kill Astos and do that chain first, since you're coming back to Elfland anyway. The only way I would see it would be beneficial is if you have the money already and you could pick up Exit or Warp, maybe in the level 3 shops, but since Keep Permissions is on, not an option, so probably going straight to Astos and then picking up some cash, the way to go here.
I feel like if Files were here, he would have some joke ready for that moment, but you caught yourself, so... And I'm not Files. Minochi finds out it was Astos all along.
Lit 2 in the Black Magic shop, so that'll be good on the Red Mage.
Yeah, and I like having spells on different levels, because then that's just more AoE charges that you have available for various situations. There's our Adamant, which is not useful in this seed. Not useful at all. A Ribbon, which is useful. And Thor's Hammer is going to be our first item that counts.
Oh, and that pays off real big for Salty. With the party that he has and only 1 spellcaster, having the spellcasting items is going to make a much larger difference for other groups.
So with 2 Thieves, I imagine you're putting it on one of them, and that way you can still run with the other one, but I can also see leaving it on the Fighter, letting him do Nuke and do the double run strats with the Thief. It looks like Minochi is taking the Crown Chain all the way. Makes a lot of sense. In fact, that seems to be everybody's preferred strategy in this seed. And I agree, because even if you're going to dive Marsh Cave, it just makes more sense to do that with the Mystic Key in hand.
Question in chat, RM with Keep Permissions on. I think it's kind of a compromise between taking the Fighter and taking another spellcaster, in that you can still do a fair amount of physical damage with some of the swords that you'll find. Red Mage with a Sun Sword is no slouch, that's for sure. And you can still cast some magic and be useful in that regard as well. Sort of like can tank a little bit better than the others in a Thief, Black Mage group.
So it looks like Zalnup was able to get to level 6 there.
Minochi picking up his TNT, and Len's gonna go check out what is in the castle here.
Salty getting reintroduced to the spiders with poison. Ice 3 at level 4, so between that and Lit 3, I think our runners are pretty set for magic.
Yeah, I think the Ice 3 at level 4 is a pretty strong indicator that you should grab a couple levels on the way through the Crescent Lake area and then go straight to Volcano.
Also with that ribbon, they're going to be able to do it a little more safely. I think Len is the second runner to pick up that Thor's hammer. I don't think Minochi got there yet. That is so far the only one of the spellcasting items we have found. They must again find 4 of either the weapons or the armor. Can't mix them, gotta be 4 of one side of the equation. Okay, random question, just because we have the time. With the adamant in your inventory, you leave it and risk it messing up your item order, or would you turn it in for the Excalibur and maybe even sell the Excalibur?
If I needed the money and I was in the area, I would sell it for the mod.
Well, you're gonna be in the area because you're gonna go check the crown chests.
So it's one of those things where if all of the crown chests there are awful, and it almost never is, I would be tempted to reset instead of taking the money. Oh god, Salty getting poisoned again.
I don't think he got anything out of here he'd be worried about keeping unless it was the ice sword. If he didn't exit in between.
Yeah, it looks like
really
he's
the only
done.
worthy thing there.
And Len not getting ambushed, so having the thief in the first slot already paying off. And speaking of files,
I mean, it does happen once in a while. Alright, so Minochi's about to head into Dwarf Cave. Soft potion is nice. Question about how equipment has been so far. Well, we found a ribbon, and silver bracelets were kind of cheap.
yeah, Ribbon and Thorhammer, Ice Sword, pretty much the highlights of the run so far.
Well, that's the other reason we had to come to Dwarf, is turn in the TNT to Narek. Heal helmet is armor number 2. No, I'm sorry, armor number 1.
So we're 1-1 right now, and certainly good enough to walk that one out.
Well, you gotta walk out the TNT anyways. So I reiterate, turn in the adamant, sell the Excalibur. I'm disappointed in you, Minochi. Oh no, wait, he got it. He got it. Okay, okay. I apologize, Minochi, when you watch the VOD. I mean, nobody else might do it, but Minochi had to. I feel that was mandatory.
It gives them something to do during lunch.
Melmon feels pretty optional, but, you know, there might be pro rings for sale here. Oh, I guess it's the first chance to sell Excalibur.
That is, that's a lot of money.
Did he check to see if pro rings were for sale here?
Might be looking for gold bracelets. Hey, there's a Fire 3. So
I gotta turn it down. And Red Mage can learn it, but how high are you gonna get the Red Mage to learn those level 5 charges?
No, it's very likely that the red mage is never going to be able to use that. Might as well buy it anyway, though.
Could bail you out in Mirage against vampires, so better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. That kind of thing.
Works out in Ice Cave too.
So it looks like so far nobody is gonna take the dive into Marsh Cave with the key. Can't say I fault them, can't say I disagree, but interesting that nobody of our featured 4 has done that. So in a little bit they will have the Canoe, which gives them access to 4 locations. They can go to the volcano, they can go to the ice cave, they can go to Castle Ordeals, or they could go back to the Marsh Cave. And while they could walk into Earth Cave, they couldn't complete it. Alright, is Minochi gonna test out the encounter table?
Oh, looks like he's gonna go the entire distance there without taking an encounter.
Alright, so he burned off those 3 encounters. And then we've seen this is a really big walk after that. Salty, meanwhile, is checking out the encounters here, it looks like. So this run is going to look very impressive when you walk through the lava and don't have the encounters from that either. You can cover a lot of ground without getting into a fight that way. Bunch of gold so far. Second ribbon and the floater. So floater is probably required. Slab may or may not be. But this is what happens when we have non-incentivized dungeons.
So this is looking pretty good for Minochi right now, and I wonder if you even make the dive into the bottom of Volcano here. You could very easily head out and check Mirage Tower and the free chests. Especially with that long walk and the encounter table, you don't have to worry about the Leifin Peninsula as much as you normally would.
Yeah, and I think it also plays in here that we've only found 1 item so far. If you were at 2 or 3, then I think there'd be more of a compelling argument to stay where you are, lest somebody find that thing that can snipe you.
No, certainly if you don't have to pay the price of walking the item back out from Lower Volcano, then yeah, absolutely stay in, and if you don't find it, reset. But if you do find it, you've won the game.
But having seen the chests he has, the odds somebody's going to find either 3 weapons or 3 armors through the rest of this volcano are pretty low. And just as kind of a quick recap, so far in the way of what is required, the crown was in Matoya's, which led to the locked TNT. We found one of the heal helmets in Dwarf, and we found the Thor hammer in Corneria. We must find either 3 of the castable armors or weapons in order to finish. Thief must hold them all, and then that is when you dot. Worth mentioning that Tristal is also in this race and not one of our featured 4. But so far it's been I don't necessarily want to say a linear path, but everybody's sort of gone along the same path so far. You had options. And I still think you'll have interesting options. If you're sitting there at 2 or 3 of something, if you go to Marsh Cave, you might have a chance to pull something that nobody else does.
Alright, Minochi gonna pick up the rod as well.
Well, Earthcave would be another option that probably not many are gonna take, but the chests from the airship give you, that makes all the sense in the world right now. Also, make sure you don't forget to translate the slab would be an important thing.
So Earthgate probably wouldn't be too bad if you just ignored the very, very annoying to get to chests along the way. But I definitely favor heading over to Cardia and then maybe doing a Mirage Tower dip before any of the others. I mean, conceivably, you could just do Sky as well, and that's 50 plus treasure chests together.
Yeah, and you're probably going to get something through all that you want to keep, so then you'd have absolutely no worries about your levels if you survive that. Not if you have too much now. Looking at background, Tristal's made good time. He already is in Mirage Tower. So I'll see if I can get a glance at his inventory at some point and maybe see what he's... Well, I doubt he'll open the armory.
Hey, Hydra has Thunder.
Well, something had to.
Yeah, not the pirates today.
Alright, the math room of Mirage comes up empty as far as our required items. Didn't see the first floor before I got Tristles up off screen here. So just to kind of place where he is, obviously he was in Volcano to have gotten the floater in the slab, so he's made very good time early on.
It seems like exactly the play that Tristal would make. Not having access to fire means that making an Ordeals play probably not going to happen.
Second Ice Sword is here in the Volcano.
I think you would have thought out by now.
It's magic.
Insulated treasure chest?
Maybe. Protected by fairy spring water, perhaps?
Alright, see how nasty the fires are today.
Well, X4 is just going to be a time waster here. We saw Ice 3. Did Zanop not get it, or did he just not have... Well, level 8, he probably didn't have the charges.
So Minochi cracks open the bottle, and with Lit 3, he probably feels like going straight into C is the right choice.
Well, also, if you want to do Sky Castle, you'll need the cube out of the waterfall, so they're in the same neighborhood.
Yeah, C is probably not a bad choice if you book it straight for the mermaids.
Yeah, of course, it's a completely different strategy here because we're not battling the fiends. I think Nitz did the math on this, and basically there was no way for the combination of treasures to work out that Temple of Fiends Revisited would be required. So fiends thereby are not required unless you want to kill one for a quick exit. Third ribbon located.
Well, that makes exploring the later dungeons feel a lot better. You don't have to worry about getting outright murdered by a single enemy that knows a powerful spell, but those large groups are still pretty terrifying.
Yeah, overall this is a pretty squishy party. Even if you've got the fighter that Salty does, he doesn't have a lot of armor for it.
Yeah, and I mean, Minoshi probably feels pretty good. Oh, there's Mage Staff. Feels
Very good
a
fun.
lot better about that.
Second one we found so far.
But, I mean, he feels pretty good about fighting almost everything in the Sea Shrine, except for the ghosts. The ghosts are going to be a little rough.
So that'll be 3 of our runners now that have 2 weapons. I'm presuming that Tristal has the Mage Staff and Thor's Hammer, which is a little risky on my part, but given where they were, I don't think there's much chance he missed them. Of course, the other great thing about finding these casting items is that you can actually use them. Allie hoping for something at TFC. I'm not sure what TFC is.
It's it's that friendly chest that's in Sea Shrine, the one that's crown locked. I'm quite sure that's what the F stands for.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard that one before. But I assume they'll check it because if they do follow your advice and go straight to the mermaid side, that's the direction they'll take. Now this one I'm not so sure of if Tristal got the cube because he left after Mirage Tower. He didn't go on to Sky Castle. So this is possibly ground he hasn't covered yet. Doesn't it make you feel a little bad as a runner of this game to see all 3 ribbons in this type of race instead of one where you could really put them to good use?
I've run so many races at this point where I'm used to the idea of I'm only having 1 ribbon.
If you're lucky.
Oh, it's not a luck thing. I'm not going into Temple of Fiends with no ribbons.
Well, there's Brack.
Uh-oh.
Well, I think they'll be okay. I mean, 3 ribbons. But you still have to get out of here. Or, of course, they could kill you, and that'd be different. Now it doesn't look so good, actually.
Oh.
You might want to bring Purple up before you take steps. Just saying. Heal Staff! Wizard Staff! That's 4?
That's
Is that 4?
That's it.
Minochi is done in a time of 34 minutes 36 seconds because he checked the chests by the robot. Wow. What What do you say to that? And how long will it take other runners to locate that?
I'd say it's time for him to go get some celebratory lunch. But I really have the feeling that if there was nothing in any of those chests, that he was just gonna reset. Because the chances of him getting through that encounter tile, not so hot with just one mage.
Yeah, he survived that with just the one black mage. Would he have even gone back in? And then compound that with he got lucky to not get another encounter, which could have wrecked his one black mage.
Did he have soft potions? I think they
I should have had
or
one
two.
from we saw from a treasure chest.
And
So, Minochi. First
guys.
question. If you had wiped on that fight, would you have gone back in for those treasure chests?
Yeah, I have to, because I was about to do full clear. What is it? Sky Tower.
So you were going to go sky before Sea Shrine?
No, I'm gonna dip into the mermaid floor if I find nothing, and then I'll just reset out, go straight to Sky Tower afterwards.
so the Kraken side basically not worth it.
Yes, because I can't clear out Kraken, and the walk back is pain. I don't think I have enough spells to walk out.
You got 3 lit 3s.
Yeah, I have a lot of lit 3, but
This
then,
should be it for Salty. He's just got to line them up right. And there it is. So Salty is our second place finisher with a time of 36 minutes, 38 seconds. I mean, within 2 minutes, and he can't even get a 0 or a 0.1 out of that, I don't think.
yeah, that gotta hurt. So
So, what'd you think of this one overall, Minochi? I assume you saw the spiders.
it's pretty nice. I mean, like, you dip into volcanoes, you got floated and slapped right away. That was really nice. And I only saw lightning 2 on the spell list of enemies, so that was it. That was nice.
They also had damage poison. But it looks like despite that, Zaunop is going to go to Marsh Cave. Maybe he thinks that's where you got things from to be done that fast.
Yeah, with the floater early, it's really hard to tell where you go.
Well, and maybe he'll end up right anyways, because there's the first light axe. That is our 5th weapon located.
Oh,
By the way, I owe you an apology. I doubted that you were going to sell the Excalibur for a minute there.
Oh, what?
I didn't see you turn in the Adamant, and so I thought you weren't selling the Excalibur. So I'm sorry I doubted you.
That was my bottle fee right there.
Salty, GG to you.
GG, Salty.
Well, you ended up in the same place as Minochi, just a little bit behind him. Did you lose audio? Alright, well, meanwhile, it looks like Len did Ordeal, and I completely missed what treasures he got out of there. But it looks like slim pickings on the weapons side. And Zanup is working on the south lane of Marsh Cave. It looks like Tristal has just finished, time of 38 minutes 45 seconds. So I think what happened in Tristal's case, well, we'll talk about it when he gets in here. Do we have Salty now? And Tristal now. Well, possibly. Tristal tends to have microphone problems when we do this.
Nah, we're good. We're alright.
Okay. So if I saw that right, you went through Sea Shrine, and then I'm guessing you went back to Waterfall after that.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I cleared Mirage Tower and Mermaids before Waterfall, so didn't work out.
Oh, and Wizards had Blizzard, in case anybody was curious. I'm sure Zaunup could have done just fine without this knowledge. About all 3 ribbons being available in this seed, by the way.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I reset out of the 3rd one.
I did the same. I had to go back in and grab it.
Oh no, I just left it behind. I don't need 3 ribbons. 2 was plenty.
Well, it looks like the armors were hiding, but we found a lot of the weapons. We're up to 6 now.
I think that's all. That's only 6 weapons.
There's 8. We haven't found Defense, Sword, or Bane.
Oh yeah, right.
So we found 1 Light Axe in Ordeal, 1 Light Axe in Marsh. Heal Staff was in the Cube Chests, along with the Wizard Staff. Mage Staff was in Cardia Islands, and Thor's Hammer was in the Corneria Treasury. As for armors, we've only found the Heal Helmet, which was in Dwarf Cave.
I can report the Power Gauntlet was in Sea Shrine on the right side on the very first floor.
Alright, so... And the chat says a Heal Helmet in Marsh as well, so... 3 out of 4 you could have gotten for armor, but... This was obviously going to be faster to get to weapons instead of armor. Question in chat if there's another race today, or is this it? As far as the league goes, this is the only race. That's not to say there won't be an actual run of a full run of the game, whatever I'm trying to say. Hey, y'all gonna do a race later on? Somebody bail me out.
Nope. Denied.
We all know Mana's gonna go get lunch anyways.
Yeah, this is all File's fault.
I mean, Files, what made you think I wasn't blaming you? Question, would having both light axes, well, in your inventory, they don't have to be equipped, count? And yes, it would. Repeats are allowed for this. It just has to be 4 of the weapons or 4 of the armor. So I guess I'll ask our runners if you have any other thoughts about this race or coming up with the rest of this round of the league.
For this round, it's just luck based on how early you get the floaters and how fast you can full clears. There's nothing else to it.
Alright, well, let's see if I can get you stirred up about anything. What about the new version of the randomizer we're looking at coming down soon, as we've got a pretty solid beta in place now?
It's great. Unless someone like really want to throw us and put in everything on checks, then no. Because there's so many incentivized places now. Depends on how many items you set for the incentivized chests. It could be very interesting on how truly the seed goes.
There go those spiders again with their damage poison. A couple of ribbons later, they're not quite as scary, but still the levels are low. They do a lot of damage.
Oh wow, Sound got a red mage for this flag. That's weird.
Yeah, it's always something to stop and think about when you've got spell permissions on. But he can do melee better than a black mage, and he's going to be able to learn all the 2s, plus Fire 3, so...
Well, I mean, it's mostly you're gonna run away anyway. The red mage only have like 25-30% run rate compared to like black mage 50% plus the spell permissions. I think it's better you stick with black mage or at the 42nd slot.
After you get levels, it does even out a bit, but it's just a matter of if you get something good at the early levels as far as damage goes, then the black mage is better, but the red mage is kind of insurance against getting frozen out of anything decent. I can see why you would do it either way.
Well, if it's possible to get an armor set, Len's gonna do it, because he's an ice cave.
I mean, wouldn't it be better if you choose a fighter over the red mage, since he's a tank and he can equip almost all the weapons pretty early?
It depends if you feel like the utility of getting maybe like a healing spell or an AoE outweighs the tankiness of the fighter.
I found that Red Mage's white magic selection was very mediocre in particular.
Yeah, I think it's just like Cure 2 and Heal 2. Is that it?
No, he can't even use heal.
Okay.
What Red Mage wouldn't be able to get any of the heals.
Wait,
Those were White Mage only.
Can red mage learn harm 2 or 3?
No harms.
No, it's
Red
very
Mage does
mediocre.
get Cure 3 though.
Yeah, Cure 3 is the best thing he gets. The White Mage can learn Heal 3, which is interesting.
Alright, so some new ground Len is about to cover with these chests. Coral Sword is actually something he can equip on the Thief, although he's probably not going to, given the setup, but could. Question for any of you that want to tackle this: does it throw you off not having warp or exit?
A little bit sometimes. I sometimes have to reconsider decisions as to whether you want to go to like Waterfall, like knowing you got to come back out of there.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I didn't just go straight to Waterfall. I have regrets.
I was honestly reconsidering my whole decision to go there as I was going through there. I was thinking I should have gone to Mirage Tower, because like I was thinking like I was going there to get the cube and then eventually go to Mirage Tower, but I'm like, I'm not probably going to be able to get by the Blue Dragon, so what's the point of this?
I mean, with the walk to what is it? What's the town to cast in for the
Lefane.
the giant? Yeah, Lefane. It's pretty long. It wastes like a 1 or 2 minutes. I'd rather check the Sea Shrine first. Well, not the Kraken side, but you know what I mean. And then just go back with the cube on Sky Castle.
I mean, Mermaids take some time to get through too, because you got to deal with 2 more floors. So I think it's probably pretty close.
I mean, assuming I get nothing and reset out, it's pretty fast. That's how I plan on doing stuff. Just reset fast. Just get out. Once I get nothing, anyway.
Well, we're about to get our last treasure chest here in Ice Cave, and it doesn't look like any of this is going to work out for Len.
So did anyone do like past floor 5 of Volcano?
Zaunap is doing that right now, actually. But as far as anyone that I have seen, no. Looks like everybody got the armory and left.
Nah, I probably was thinking about leaving as soon as I got the floater, and then when I got the slab, it was super easy to decide.
Yeah, it was pretty much the same thing with me. Saw the floater, saw the slab, I'm like, alright, let's get out of here. Go to other places, there's a lot more treasure chests elsewhere now.
Yeah, I went back to buy the pro rings just in case. I don't know. Tristal seed last time I played scared me, so I bought everything defensive pretty fast.
Where were the pro rings? I didn't even find them.
It was in Elfland.
I took the slightly longer road around to Crescent Lake just to pick those up on the way over.
The white shirt was in Volcano. That's 4 now that we know of, but the other one was Power Gauntlet and Sea Shrine. Tristal, was that Mermaid side?
Yeah, just the very first chest on the right side.
So he could still potentially get his armor set before a weapon set. Oh, looks like Len finished. Len
Double
finished
light axe.
in 4th place with a time of 50 minutes 19 seconds. He found 2 light axes, Thor's hammer, and Mage Staff. Yeah, he got the second one that was in Marsh. He had gotten the one out of Ordeals. The Mage Staff was in Cardia Island, so I guess he was able to find that with the airship. And then Thor's hammer was the treasury. So GG to Len. And what was the red dragon guarding all this time? So what we haven't found was the black shirt, the Zeus gauntlet, the defense sword, and the Bane sword, for those wondering at home. Is he gonna fight Carrie? I guess why not at this point?
Oh, come on, let's Bane carry.
I don't think he has Bane.
This,
But fires
this
have
is not gonna
thunder.
end
That's
well.
the second thing. Thunder was on the Medusa script today.
You're not gonna fight Carrie. That's why you always heal.
We didn't see that with anybody else. Zanuf's getting the RNG today, and Zara isn't even here.
Well, somebody had to get it.
Chat saying Zanup was out of heals. Wouldn't
Ah,
exactly encourage me to go fight Carrie either, though.
Yeah, going down to the 5th floor or beyond of Volcano is pretty bad when you heal potion without a healing spell.
That also means he lost his white shirt, by the way, so he might have the 2 heal helmets, but he won't have the white shirt anymore because he didn't go back for it. And I believe he only has 2 weapons. Well, he might have 3. He could have the 2 light axes and the Thor's hammer. Actually, if that's the... Well... He either hasn't done Ordeals or hasn't done Cardia Islands, I would have to say at this point, because he went to Marsh, so he's got a light axe from there. He either doesn't have the other light axe from Ordeal, or he doesn't have the Mage Staff from Cardia Islands. The Ice Cave, though, was a bust on the weapons side. In fact, I don't think there was anything in here. This place is just not as fun to check without warp, is it?
no, it makes a huge difference to the point where you might even skip the eye chest on the way out.
Yeah, I would have skipped this 3 chests and all together and just fall down and go straight for the club chest.
Oh, that's true. The mage chest is probably a huge pain too if you haven't seen those yet.
Gentlemen, I'm gonna have to step away for just a minute here.
Okie doke. So Zelnop goes through a long battle for a short sword. Oh, Race was Scorch too. Not super threatening, but certainly annoying. Alright, getting ready for the Frostwolf fight.
Where's Mia when you need him?
He's busy playing La Lunas.
Yeah, La Mulana Randomizer.
That's hardly an excuse. And of course he gets Frost Dragons here along the way. Why not? How long was that big walk, by the way? It was, I think, after the third fight.
It's around 25, 30 steps. Pretty long.
We'll say the prospect of coming here makes some sense with having all the lit charges. But then, of course, Blizzards cast Blizzard.
Good time to go first, though.
Well,
All right.
He could just reset out of here after this one when he doesn't find anything here.
That is true.
'Cause there just was absolutely nothing in this ice cave today. And that's exactly what he does. Well, where does he have next? He hasn't been into Earth Cave. Oh my. Poor Zaunop. He's just going on the world tour here.
Well, at least we get to see some chests that we haven't seen before, and he might get the armor win.
Yeah, and there's still 2 weapons we don't have accounted for, so he could still finish based on that as well. But hey, as a broadcaster, I always appreciate the chance to see things we haven't seen yet. So, by the way, with that win, Minochi is now tied with Artea for the lead of the race. Club Zero lives on.
Thanks. I got lucky here.
Not gonna take that ruby and feed the Titan. Come on, Zelma.
What else can you do at this point?
We got main sword. That's it.
That's GG. Okay. It was out there. We never found the defense sword.
So how many of these races have finished on weapon armor?
This is the second one I've gotten to see. Both of them did. Percentage-wise, it's more likely, but I would expect it to be a little more even distribution than that, perhaps. Meanwhile, if you want to see more of the Randomizer League, the next race is going to be Saturday at 11 a.m. And then there'll be a 1 a.m. overnight after that. So Saturday 11 a.m. will be the next race for the Randomizer League. Same rules. A few more of these to get in. Allie says that they finished with only armor in their race, so. Alright, well. Doesn't look like we're going to have any more interviews on this one, so Salty, Mono, anything you want to say?
Yeah, it was a super fast seed. It was pretty fun. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for restreaming.
Yep, I was gonna say the same thing. Thanks for commentating, Edge and Trenton, and Dark on restreaming.
Death Star 175 doing our restreaming tonight. He did it for the marathon, but this is his first time joining us here, so we appreciate his help and appreciate Randomania 2 for hosting us tonight. And Edge for jumping in here with me at the last second. I appreciate that too.
Hey, anytime.
I even appreciate Files being here in chat and all of you who watched us.
Whoa, let's not go that far.
Whoa. Files? Really? Why would you appreciate Files? Kappa.
And on that happy note of agreement between everybody else, y'all have a good night.